Hello everyone, I'm Sophie and I'm currently at Kechara Forest Retreat, Bentong, Malaysia. And this is the book that I'll be sharing from, Tales My Lama Told Me. This is written by Pastor David Lai, but the stories within are from our Guru, His Eminence the 25th Sam Tuku Rinpoche. Today I'll be reading chapter 15, A Glam Rock Dharma Story, and it's on page 155. And before that, a picture to share with you. There you go, that's Rinpoche in the monastery with all the Rinpoches and Trokus. Right, chapter 15, A Glam Rock Dharma Story. And this is a short excerpt from Pastor David's comment. On listening to this story for the first time, I was surprised to hear that Rinpoche would actually prefer to stay in seclusion at his monastery in India. But after knowing Rinpoche for so long, I realized that the depth and strength of his spirituality is so powerful and so different from people like me. His reluctance to come to Malaysia in order to teach, meet people, and fundraise was, to me, an expression of his deep spirituality. However, his eventual compliance to come to Malaysia at the request of his teachers was an even greater act of spirituality because he surrendered his will to his teachers. Surrendering our own wishes to our spiritual guide is an extremely powerful spiritual practice in Buddhism. I am indeed awed because I can see the amazing results of his surrender. The following story of how Rinpoche first came to Malaysia was told with his characteristic wit and humor during a public teaching. And so starts the story by Rinpoche. Ganden Monastery in South India is the monastery where I'm from, and it has an education program where many monks of my generation and younger are studying to preserve the teachings so that they will not be lost forever. I'm here today in Malaysia teaching the Dharma because I met a wonderful Malaysian monk who was a student of His Holiness the Karmapa many years ago. He was called Reverend Kun, and I will always remember him as a wonderful and sincere monk. In 1990, I was in Bulgaria on pilgrimage on my own. I was doing my devotional rounds when I met Reverend Kun, and we started talking. I gave him a short Dharma talk on Guru devotion and related it to his Lama, His Holiness Karmapa. He was very happy and the talk moved him very deeply. So we exchanged addresses and I went back to Ganden. After about a year, he wrote to me to request for divinations to be done. I performed the divinations which advised that some pujas were required. The pujas were done for him and apparently he did obtain some results from the pujas. Subsequently, an invitation to visit Malaysia from a group of Malaysians from the Cheras and Shah Alam suburban areas came to me. I declined the invitation as I didn't feel I was qualified to teach at that time. However, things were about to change. The monastery began to experience a huge influx of young monks from Tibet, and many of them were sleeping outside on the verandas of the monastic dormitories, as there simply was not enough room. It was not as bad in the summertime, as Tibetans are quite hardy by nature and can take the outdoors because of their semi-nomadic blood. However, when it rained, it became very difficult for the monks. When it rains in India, it goes on for days and everywhere becomes very wet. The rain also brought a lot of snakes, which were probably more active in the cooler weather. If any of you were like me, you would be scared to death of the snakes. I encountered many snakes in the monastery and sometimes even up close, At one time, I literally slept with a snake. It was under my bed, but that's another story. Even in my bedroom, there would be countless snakes slithering in and out of the room. So you imagine what those poor monks sleeping in the verandas must have been experiencing. So the monks of Pukang Kanzen, led by His Eminence Kapje Lati Rinpoche, His Eminence Kapje Khenso Jampa Yeshe Rinpoche, and other high lamas convened in a grand meeting. They decided that I should travel abroad to teach and raise funds for the monastery. I have to stress that it was their idea. I knew nothing about the meeting beforehand, so I was in for a big surprise. The two high lamas were sitting on their respective thrones, and I was just right next to them along with the other monks. They pointed to me and said, "You will be going abroad to raise funds to build a new dormitories for these monks." Taken aback, I said, "No, I'm not." I was a little rude as I had just arrived from America. In the monastery, you don't just turn down your guru or high lama so bluntly. You have to fold your hands and politely say something like, "I don't think I'm qualified." Even if you do think you are great, you should still say you're not qualified. Myself, I really didn't think I was great. I really thought I couldn't do it. So I told them, "No, I'm not." Then an ensuing mini debate went on between Kapje Lati Rinpoche and me. Can you imagine the audacity of stupid little me to do that? Kapje Lati Rinpoche said, "Yes, you are." I said, "No, I'm not." "Yes, you are." "No, I'm not." Then he asked, "Why not?" I told him, "It's because I'm not qualified." Then he asked me, "Why are you not qualified?" I replied, "Because I just entered the monastery 3 to 4 years ago, and I really don't know much." Then he said, "You know the language, you know the Dharma, and you have traveled abroad before. You are very qualified. You should go." I replied, "In that case, you should go since you are more qualified." Kapje Lati Rinpoche glared at me and retorted, "You can't talk to me like that." I said, "You are right, I can't talk like that, but you really are more qualified than me." Then he explained, "I'm very busy with my responsibilities in the monasteries, so I can't go." Again, I said, "No, I'm not going." He responded, "Yes, you are going." Finally, he asked, "How do we solve this?" I cheekily said, "By me not going. You see, I wasn't born in the States, but I lived there for many years and all my life. I had wanted to go to India to join the monastery. I didn't want to go to India and join the monastery to be a teacher and travel around the world to meet all kinds of strange people. Can you imagine all the endless questions I'd get from these spiritual heathens and barbarians? I just wanted to stay in Ganden. I had no plans to travel anywhere. I really had no plans whatsoever. At this point, I just didn't want to travel. This news completely broke into my reality, and I felt strongly that I didn't come to Ganden to run around as a teacher. I had never thought of becoming a teacher. I just wanted I just always wanted to go into retreat. I had always dreamt of entering into an extended meditational retreat that would go on for years. At Ganden Monastery, we had a long-standing tradition of propitiating the Dharma protector Satrap. We also have a special oracle monk who takes trance of Satrap. This oracle is authorized by the monastery and recognized by the Tibetan government to take authentic trance. If we wish to consult the protector, we would make a request to the old and illustrious Oracle Lama, and he would go into regular trances of the powerful protector of our monastery. So I told Kapje Lati Rinpoche, if the protector says that I should go, then I will go. You have to understand that at that time I was very confident that the protector would say no. Kapje Lati Rinpoche pointed at me and he said, "Are you sure? Are you sure? There are witnesses here, you know. Are you sure?" I said, "Yes," confidently. I took matters rather casually as I thought it would take a few weeks to arrange an audience with the oracle monk because he was always so busy. On top of that, it wasn't an easy thing to prepare and enter a full trance, etc. However, the very next day, they sent me a message to announce that the oracle will take trance the following day. I said to the messenger monk, "It's just been a day. Why is it so fast?" Of course, Kabje Lati Rinpoche was very influential in the monastery. Okay. I went to meet the oracle monk, and we went to seek audience with my gurus. The oracle took trance according to ritual, and I consulted the protector when he came. He immediately said to me, "Yes, you are going to go." Then he gave me special instructions on what to do on my travels. The protector gave me instructions on what to do, what to teach, what to send ahead, and what to share with the people I would meet. He gave me very clear and concise instructions. I sat there feeling very unhappy and thinking that there was no way out of this because I had trapped myself. After the trance, we convened for a meeting with Kapje Latte Rinpoche. The moment I walked in, he began to laugh and laugh. He kept on laughing and laughing. He just couldn't stop. After a while, I became a little irritated because I wondered why he had to rub it in so much. I was a little rude in my mind as I had such a big ego. I felt he was really rubbing it in when he kept laughing non-stop. Can you imagine an old illustrious Lama like that laughing at me in front of everybody? So I felt very small and I didn't have any more confidence left. On top of that, I had really trapped myself and I had no choice but to comply with the instructions to go to Malaysia. Next, they had a meeting and I was asked to make arrangements to travel. They told me to find a place to go and make contact with people who could help me. Then I had to go there, teach the Dharma and raise funds. After that, I was to come back with the funds and the monastery would take over and build the housing for the monks. I said, "You've got to be kidding. You guys don't even have one connection?" They said to me, "If we did, why would we ask you?" After the first shock that I had to leave Ganden to go out and teach. They threw this responsibility onto me. I had to make the connections myself, and you have to understand that I was only in my 20s. I was very young at the time and I didn't know anything. I was very skinny and starving to death. Up until then, I had never taught anyone anything in my life. I had never given initiations and I had never ever traveled anywhere as a Tibetan Lama. But I would have to do it now. So I will end the sharing session here and come back to join me for the next session when you find out what happens. Right, we'll end this with a completion dedication in Tibetan. Jangyo Sencho Rinpoche, Make Panam Geishi, Ke Panam Pame Payang, Gone Gondo Pewasho, Tony Toa Rinpoche, Make Panam Geishi, Ke Panam Pame Payang, Gone Gondo Pewasho, Daso Jine Sapage Wadi, Tandandro Agona Kabadang, Chepa Jesu no Santrapai, Tamping Imporinto Sa Se Sho, Ke Wakundu Yandala Manda, Dromi Choki Pala Non Choching, Sadam Nangi Yotarazone, Doji Changi Ngopanga Tuso, Gewadi Yududa, Lama Sangyo Droyone, Drewa Chikia Malupa, De Sala Gopasho, Choki Kaposungapa, Chosunampa Pewala, Geki Samasiwada, Tungi Malu Sangwasho, Dadam Senge Dosunda, Drewe Songi Latene, Gewa Losan Trapai, Tampayo Riva, Gushi, Ni Modele Sendele, Ni Migunyandele Shin, Ni Sentato Dele Pa, Concho Songi Jingilo, Concho Songi Ngodroso, Concho Songi Trasi Sho. Jesu Lama Kusanap Dingching, Nam Katrini Chochuke Padang, Losam Tempe Drome Sapsongi, Droe Munsa Tatoni, Gushi, Gangri Rawe Kowe Shinkam de Bendandewa Malu Goene, Charanze, one tensing get so Shapeshiri Baru Deng Gushi. home tông bề ngô trù mà lô ba đến đến đó là sau du số có đàn đến ba long chọn nào cái bà số shik shuk tên sao. Thank you again, and do join me for the next session where you find out what happens, with Rinpoche's first travel. Thank you.